join me on my drive back home from the boxing boxing place. What do you call that? I don't, like a gym, a boxing gym? The place where you box. It's actually, to be exact, the St. Louis Boxing Club in Maplewood. They have a free 7-day trial that I started a few days ago. Because for the past about a month, honestly, I've been feeling a lot of anger has been coming up, a lot of angst, a lot of like, all right, I need to work this out. I can't keep it in my body. So I need to go take a boxing class. Like, I kept saying that. And it took me a while to actually go do it. I actually almost bought a punching bag before I even decided on doing a class, which is nice to have whenever I want it. And there's moments where, like, get a wave of anger. I'm like, man, I wish I could just take this out of the punching bag and not have to, like, go to a class or whatever. And it's not even about technique as much as it is, like, just releasing the energy through the punch. Although I do, like, it's nice to know, like, there's a whole, like, science behind the different movements and such. But for me personally, I just wanted to, like, just get out all that energy. So yeah, I'm feeling a little tired, honestly. I was all pumped up and now I'm like, whoa, I just expended a lot of energy, which felt good, and I needed to do it. And also, like, yeah, I don't know, maybe I'll just have a chill day now after this. I got some tension out, and yeah, but I just felt like showing up and processing my experience and why I've been doing this and how it's been helpful for me, and also just talk through kind of, where just touching base, checking in and stuff. Yes, so anger. Let's talk about anger and the healthy release and processing of anger that isn't destructive to our relationships and to our lives. Because if we keep stuff inside of us, it can explode and it can hurt other people. We can say things we don't mean, that we can't take back, that will always have an impact on the person who hears what we say. And recently that was something that happened, like, to me, with someone said some things that have really, like, hurt, and I've been, like, hearing actually again, and it's like I can't get it out of my head. I don't want to reaffirm that story, but I feel like, there's this it just kind of, it's definitely hurt. It's had an impact. And so, and this person had this feeling that they acted out of, instead of taking a moment to pause and process it, and breathe through it, or just come to talk to me about the deeper feelings underneath the anger. And then it was an explosion. And I think things build up over time. They build up over days, months, years, like a whole lifetime. And anger often can come from a place of feeling like a sadness, or like an overstepping of boundaries, a disrespect. Often I feel is what, like, anger can come from, is feeling like disrespected, feeling overstepped, like someone overstepped a boundary. And then ironically, like, in our state of anger, we can also perpetuate that same harm onto others who may not even be a part of that original problem, or the hurt that was there before that moment that something triggers. And of course, when we're in a fight or flight mode, we are not in a calculated conscious state. Like, we are acting out of, like, a primal survival, like, mechanism almost, to keep us safe in some way. But it ironically actually doesn't create safety for anybody. But it's like an automatic processing that just happens when our body goes into a certain state. And so, if we can be aware of that, and when we feel that rise up in our bodies, like, to learn to just, like, take a breath and process that feeling before acting on the initial, like, thing that could be a react from. And that moment between the synapse of, like, the feeling, the emotion, the energy in the body, and then the, like, the words or thing that comes after that is, like, that's the magic spot right there. Like, that is for everything in life, like if we could all learn to just pause before saying and doing things and finding a center place of curiosity and presence and like intention, instead of like being like at the whim of something external, or even our own internal processing that is not always like conscious or ideal. But so then, okay, so we have these feelings and they're there, and we need to feel them, we need to get them out, we release them. So I've had all this anger of feeling disrespected, feeling mostly just a feeling of disrespect or not being appreciated, from multiple places and people, and it all kind of happened at once. And so it was like, okay, I gotta process this. And so the classes have been good. It's like it's a release. So all those feelings I have that I could take out on someone and I could act out of, that could cause more problems, like I can take it out in a punching bag. And there's other ways to get out all our feelings, many ways to like process and release emotions, feelings, and to get it out of our body. Because we can try to think through our feelings, but that's limiting, and it won't always get us out of them. Like it can keep us in this state of intellectualizing things that are beyond the intellect and intelligence. It is like stored in our bodies. It is a biological, like chemical thing. And so if we can move through things in our physical body, it's so grounding and so helpful. And it's just your brain can only get you so far. And at a certain point, it's like, okay, there's trauma in my body. There's information stored in my body that is keeping me anxious, angry, sad, in a perpetual state of that. Because these feelings come up and they're normal, but if we stay stuck in something, it's our body telling us there's something that needs to be shifted, something needs to change, or something that needs to be worked out, like a kink, a thing, and so like tapping pressure points helps with just grounding into the body, moving energy in a certain way, releasing attention, breathing deeply, shaking, dancing, running, skating, any kind of sport, just getting into the body, moving through things in a certain way that is constructive and is strengthening our body, our muscle memory, our connection to our physical form, and integrating, our mind, body, and spirit, like finding a way to be with ourselves and all of these parts of ourselves, honoring these different parts of ourselves that are all us, one thing, but there is you can compartmentalize and break things down into different boxes and parts and pieces, and at the end, it really is, if you zoom out, like all one thing in some level. But it's really helpful to, if everything was a big gooey ball of whatever, or like a big soup, like that's great. We love soup, and gooey balls are great sometimes, but maybe sometimes you want to know what you're eating in the soup, and I don't really know where I'm going with this, but there's a lot of parts within the soup, and it all makes a really good soup. But if it was all blended up into like one ingredient, it wouldn't be as good, probably, because like it's nice to taste the different textures and and like flavors and stuff. So but sometimes I don't know what I'm not sure. Maybe you got something out of that. I don't know what I totally was going with that, but so I feel like at this point I just want to lay down and just sink into whatever else is coming up for me, because I also and it's not just anger. Underneath the anger is like a sadness or a grief or a deeper feeling of something related to a lot of things. But just this morning I woke up really uneasy. I had this really awful dream that made me very uncomfortable, and it was I guess I could tell you what it was, but I watched someone I love, they were like performing and they were singing, and the lyrics to the song were quite profound, related to things with us and what they were saying, and then all of a sudden their voice turned into this weird demon-y sounding like thing, and then this like black like creature, like snake alien thing, like was coming out of them, like this sludge was like being pulled out of them in a sense. But then it was kind of like in Stranger Things, like this, like I felt like this, the upside down, like or like this creature from this other underworld realm. And I did directly connect it to the Stranger Things. Even in my dream I remember being like, oh wow, like I related it to that. That show really I really got into, and definitely I felt like it was kind of real on some level of like what I see happening in this in just the kind of merging of worlds, and that there is like this kind of like there I could get in, there's a lot of things I could say right now, but it was just like this creature came out of this person and like consumed them. It like ended them. I watched them die in my dream. I was taken over by this, and it was like a parasitic, like, it wasn't the person themselves, it was like this thing inside of them that like took over them. And it's funny, not funny, but this person also happens to be the one that said some awful things to me that really just really have impacted me, and the relationship has been, we've just triggered each other in certain ways, and our icky sticky parts have come out onto each other in the relationship, and it's been a place of a lot of comfort and laughter and peace, but also confusion and conflict and combativeness, and just like something like bumping up against itself. So that dream, just like to see that person that happened to them and feel like that's in a way like, what I've been feeling even happening is like something in them is like this thing is I don't know. So that I just felt sad. I wanted to cry. I didn't even fully cry, but I was just like, oh, like that was not a good way to start the day. And then I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna go boxing. I told myself I'd do this. I'm trying to get my maximum classes in, and because I don't know if I'm going to keep doing it after this week. I don't know if I necessarily need it. I'm thinking of taking like a dance workout class, like a Zumba or something, because I love dancing, and I feel like that might be a little more for me, because I want to keep strengthening my muscles and my core and my arms and my body, and I know there's different ways to do that, but I don't want to be angry, and I don't want to feel like I need to constantly get out all this anger, because I don't have a whole lot of it often. Like in my life, in my day-to-day, like I don't struggle with a whole lot of anger. Like when something activates or triggers it, like it really comes up, because I don't have a whole lot of it on my day-to-day. I'm pretty even keel, chill. Like if even, like on the road, like someone cuts me off, something happens, like I'm like, okay, whatever. Like people, I don't experience a whole lot of stuff that really activates anger in my life. Like, I'm just, it's like, okay, I try to give people benefit of the doubt. I don't take things personally unless it's like someone close to me, and that kind of stuff is what brings up all this anger. But I feel like after I process a lot of this, like, I might find something else to, and rollerblading actually has been, inline skating has been something that's been really helpful for me too, a workout that I just love, like the repetition of the circles and the speed and the flow and dance and just like incorporating movement, and that's something that I'm been doing too, that's been really helpful. It's just been really hot out, and I haven't been wanting to like overheat outside, but I can go to a rink too, and I go as much as I can. So fun fact, that's something that I think I'll just really continue to get more into, and maybe a dance class. I love dancing, and just I was sweating so good, just gotta sweat it out. So just a healthy release is kind of what I feel like the key thing right now for me is like processing, releasing, and then just creating, flowing. So I think I'm going to paint too. I'm going to get into a peaceful place now, because I just like, you get things out. It's like, okay, I can actually sink into like feeling good without this like underlying tension or anger or frustration or whatever. Like, just gotta get it out. I've got narwhals on my Band-Aid. I cut my hand somehow when I was cleaning. I don't know even how it happened, but anywho, so Oh yeah, maybe I'll take a nap. Shoot. Oh. Oh. Come on, person. I gotta get over. Now they're trying to get over. What are you? This is ends. This lane ends. Okay. Yeah. Well, thanks for listening and tuning in, whoever you are out there. Yeah. If you feel called or inclined to reach out or say literally anything, it's cool to connect and know that, whatever I, is received, that I'm not just talking to myself. And that's okay if I am, because this is continuing to help me, process and understand, everything going on in me. But yeah, it means a lot to hear feedback and just to hear, that there's another person out there who is, maybe has something back to say, spark a conversation, ask a question. I don't know. I'm wanting to get better at being more interactive with how I come into the world online. I feel like that's something I am not as much. So I put out something, and I'd love to have more of a conversation or just connect with people. And that's a new chapter in my life of learning how to do that. I've been very much kind of in myself and wanting to connect with others and come out of myself, but struggling with that too. I've definitely been in hermit mode, and when I come online, I share a part of myself and a certain way that I don't maybe share as much. I don't know. I mean, with any person I talk to, I guess I don't know. Totally. I mean, I can say anything, and it could be that, or it could be a lot of other things. And I even just sometimes with talking in general and saying anything, I'm it's not the full encompassing everything. I can never say it all, and I often hold myself back from saying anything because I'm I'm gonna miss something, or I have this. I just really want to be to make sense and be understood, and not limit or restrict things. I want to be as expansive and open as possible, and even neutral in ways too, where it's how can we all win? How I don't like to be. I don't want things to be so that, so I need to stop at the grocery store. Fresh Time, I love Fresh Time, and Trader Joe's. Those are my spots for food, and I love me some good quality food. Carrots and celery, I just love them, and fruit, smoothies. Those are my go-to, and I love me some rice noodles, some quinoa, some salmon, some grass-fed beef. I used to not eat any meat or animal products, but I have been, ever since I got pregnant and was breastfeeding, I had to incorporate some animal products for the protein. My body, I just needed more, and there's ways to do all that without eating meat. It's just it was just definitely needed for me. And so I even I used to be really adamant about veganism. I feel to the point where I was slightly judgmental of people who didn't see things my way, and I've definitely changed a lot in my ability to consider different sides of things, and that it's not every person, every body requires the same things. I don't know what's best for you. My big thing is knowing where your meat's coming from, where your eggs, dairy in general, from the studies I've read, causes inflammation, period, whether it's whatever kind of dairy it is. But raw goats, we can break down the protein in goat's milk better than the protein that's in cow's milk, because we're not baby cows, so we can't really break down that milk all that well, and it does cause inflammation, and so does wheat. But I do eat organic sprouted wheat, so it doesn't have. I think a big reason why wheat causes inflammation is because of the glyphosate, the pesticides that are sprayed on it. And it's been genetically modified, so our bodies it's just not as, we don't recognize whatever it is as we did when we evolved alongside wheat and dairy so long ago. Oh, whoa. That was a beautiful bird. I don't know what that was, but it was a very big wingspan, and he looks like a seabird of some kind, some kind of water bird. And I'm not near any water right now, but Yeah. So just being as conscious as possible about knowing like where food comes from, and like, because when we put it into our bodies, it's going to become our cellular, like it's the fuel that becomes what we are. So, um, yeah, just a reminder to like really check in with yourself and your body, and what feels good for you and what your body needs. And I know not water is like the number one thing, that is important. And I'm water filter, water that comes from the tap has got a lot of stuff in it. So there's certain filters that will help um, get out all the stuff you don't want. And I know the plastic isn't that good at all, but I drink spring water. Like I get big jugs of spring water, and I just drink that because I don't know, knowing that it came from a spring and didn't sit in the pipes and doesn't have all that stuff in it feels better to me. So that's what I do. Definitely, that costs a little bit more. And the whole plastic thing I'm not a fan of, but just knowing the water came from the earth, like, feels better to me. So I'm coming here to get some water and some other goodies, but yeah, everything we take into us becomes us and is our output. Like our input and our output end up being, it's like an information exchange. So yeah, as much as possible, just being as conscious aware of like what's coming in, what's going out. And like in ways like it's more expensive to eat clean and healthy, unfortunately. And just like, there's a big old dragonfly. I'm in the parking lot, I'm seeing all sorts of beautiful things. Who would have thunk it? Oh, now he he just came right to my window shield. He's a big guy. He's like ginormous. I love dragonflies. I love dragons. I love birds, flying above and beyond, new perspective, nourishing ourselves, releasing, processing, intention. These are all good things. And yeah, so grounding with the earth is good. And that's, eating things that are close to the earth, like carrots and celery. I'm telling you what, like, yeah, I just love them. It's good stuff. Potatoes, sweet potatoes. Ezekiel bread. I love that. It's organic sprouted bread. I could talk more about health and stuff, and I do want to share more, but I feel like it's also like this controversial thing where everyone does their own thing and has their own diet, and it's like I like to share information about what works for me. Everyone has their own way, but hopefully it could be useful for someone out there who wants to eat a little cleaner. And so if that interests you, like, please reach out. I would love to talk more about anything health related, mind, body, spirit. It's all connected. Yeah. So, okay. Yeah, I think I'm gonna tune out. I'm gonna get in there. I'll have a fresh time. Stay fresh. Yeah. All right. Peace and love, and all that jazz, and wellness, and balance, and all the other things I've said. I know the clicking kind of adds, like, click it into place, click it into your brain. That's why I do that, I think. So, okay, till next time.